Y'all ready? Hi, I'd like to call to order the Baldwin County Board of Education meeting today on April 21st, 2022. Mr. Johnson, would you lead us in prayer?
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that's blessed us with. Thank you for this beautiful place to live that you've blessed us with, Baldwin County. It's an incredible county. Be with us tonight as we discuss the matters that involve our children here in the county. Help us to be wise and strong.
Amen. If you stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Glad you're here to join us. Chastity, do we have any letters of recommendation? Okay, we do not. Okay. All right. In that case, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for March 17th and March 31st. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second. Motion by Mr. Christenberry, second by Ms. Dawson. Any discussion? Okay, the minutes are passed. Okay, we do have a visitor here to speak to us tonight. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, I'm forgetting. Okay, we need to call for a vote for the minutes. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Thank you. And so we do have a guest here to speak to us tonight. If you come forward. Just to let you know, we do have 3 minutes that you can speak to us, and we just don't mention anybody else's names or anything like that. And if you would introduce yourself and tell us where you're from,
I would
sir.
say I would talk fast, but that would be a lie. That's not possible for me.
I don't believe Mayor Hammond's a guest. I think he's family.
Okay.
He's
I can't say hello in a minute. Okay, I came all the way up here to ask you for absolutely nothing. Okay? I came up here for a higher purpose. Okay? I came to tell each one of you, thank you. Thank you in general for your service. Thank you in particular for the things you have done for the town of Alberta. We got a elementary school with a music room and a media center. It used to be called a library when I went to school, but so we got a high school, we got bleachers at our stadium, and now y'all building us this incredible gymnasium, okay? So I want to say thank you for all that. Mr. Tyler, I know I'm not supposed to say names, but I never did follow the rules even when I was in school. I was reading a book by Bill Barr the other day, and I immediately thought of you. The title says one damn thing after another. And I said, that sounds like Mr. Tyler to me. Hurricanes, pandemics, everything. I didn't have anything to do with getting you in your position, but I was there when it happened. And the council member, y'all that picked Mr. Tyler did a really good job. And I want to thank you, sir, for your service, okay, for your character, for your integrity. And I'm just so thankful for that.
Mayor.
And Miss Hope is still on loan from town of Alberta. She's still ours. When y'all get done with her, we want her back. Okay. If I could now, just be Jim Hamby for a minute, not the mayor. I'll even take my coat off. That would look better because the mayor always wears a coat and Jim Hamby never does. Now, I agree with most of what the mayor said, okay? But Jim Hamby is incapable of driving 35 miles in front of y'all without asking for something. Okay, it's just not in his DNA. He read somewhere you have not because you ask not, so he always asks. Okay. Have school every day you can, please, okay? I have young grandchildren, and I am the default. Paul is the default and nanny are the default babysitters, okay? And the problem is our kids are young. Grandkids are young. That's not the problem. The problem is we are old, okay? So any day you let them out of school, they come into my house. So, okay? Fat Tuesday, Ash Wednesday, Good Friday, every once in a while throw in a Saturday for good measure. Y'all have school, okay? The other thing I wanted to ask for is y'all, I know you teach civics in school, but I wish that we would teach it to the level that we had to pass the citizenship test when we graduate, okay? Them kids are getting out, they're going to get to vote, they don't have a clue, okay? You know why I know they don't have a clue? Because a lot of them grew up and they still don't have a clue. Okay, they don't know what the town does, what the state does, what the county does. They just complain. They ain't even complaining to the right person. So those two things, if you could do those for me, and thank you everyone for your service.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I've asked you a couple times about the favors down at Bayfield 98, which is a nightmare. Over those lights. I appreciate you sending the officers over there and getting those buses out of there.
That's the funnest part of my job when I can help. You know, so many times you can't help. So many times you can't. But when, by goodness, if you know, when somebody asks you for something and you can help, that's a good thing.
That was a tremendous help. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate you. Go
Thank you.
Warriors.
You good?
Go Warriors.
Jill.
Bucky, you got the cheapest gas.
Mr. Tyler, do we have any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Amend number 8, retirement and resignation of personnel. Number 11, transfer intent to transfer personnel. Number 12, employment of personnel. Number 13, extra work for extended periods. Add number 14, 2022-2023 revised extra work wages. Add number 15, approval of memorandum of understanding with Orange Beach City Board of Education.
Do we have a motion for the amendments?
I make a motion, we amend the
Agenda.
agenda.
Second.
Ms. Dawson made the motion, second by Mr. Christenberry. Any discussion about the amendments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Amendments are approved.
Agenda item 1, bids proposals. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the low bidders meeting specifications for bids and bid extensions for goods and services for the system as provided and stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
Second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Christenberry made the motion, second by Ms. Dawson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 2, Public Works. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the low bidders meeting specifications for public works projects as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Johnson made the motion. Mr. Christenberry made the second.
Ladies first.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 3, donation of film transfer equipment to Snook Foundation.
So moved. Oh, sorry.
Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the
Oh, where'd it
transfer
go?
of specialized film transfer equipment to the Snook Foundation to further provide service to Baldwin County as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Dawson, second by Mr. Christenberry. Any discussion?
We're not ever gonna use this, not any of our schools, we won't do this anymore.
So I had Tom ask around to see if anybody was interested in Chastity, looked into it. I think the issue is the equipment is.
It's old,
outdated.
isn't it?
It's so-
Yeah.
He's really the only one that knows how to use it, and so the feeling was, he could continue to provide this service, but nobody really knows how to use it except for.
I was going to
Yeah.
say, I think he
Yeah.
said he would do it for other schools if they needed it. or wanted it done.
And Ms. Mark, you're familiar with our 16 millimeter films we used to watch and break all the time and burn
And that machine is an excellent machine. It's perfect.
to convert in those, yes, sir.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 4, approval of permanent easement to the city of Foley. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the easement and allow the superintendent to execute all documents needed to grant the easement to the city of Foley as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Dawson, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 5, approval of contracts paint slingers. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contracts with paint slingers to be paid from after-school child care funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Christenberry made the motion, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 6, dissemination of 2022-2023 parent and student handbook. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the dissemination of the 2022-2023 parent and student handbook to local schools and organizations for input as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Dawson, second by Mr. Christenberry. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 7, leave of absence of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the leave of absence of personnel as stipulated to board members under separate cover.
Motion by Mr. Johnson,
Second.
second by Ms. Dawson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 8, retirement and resignations of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the retirement and resignations of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So move.
Second. Motion by Mr. Christenberry, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 9, termination of temporary and/or non-tenured certificated personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve to terminate the contracts of temporary and/or non-tenured certificated personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry,
Second.
second by Ms. Dawson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 10, termination of temporary and/or probationary classified personnel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve to terminate the classified personnel in accordance with Act Number 2011-270, Students First Act, as provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Dawson,
Second.
second by Mr. Christenberry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 11, transfer intent to transfer personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the transfer intent to transfer personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 12, employment of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the employment of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Dawson, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Agenda item 13, extra work for extended periods. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the extra work of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry,
Second.
second by Ms. Dawson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 14, 2022-2023 revised extra work wages. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the revised 2022-2023 extra work wages as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry,
Second.
second by Ms. Dawson. Any discussion?
Here's my question for you. On page 3 of the document that we were given on this, there's a little section that says regional tax district. I just don't totally understand exactly what that is. Teacher, 3 meal tax district, 3 meal board, 3 rate, and the rate of pay.
I can explain that. Some of the committees in this past year have, they have made requests to offer hourly rates greater than or differing than what the board approved rates are. So this was my attempt to try to have some flexibility there. The commission will approve it. It'll still come before the board for final approval, but this kind of gives an extra level of flexibility as opposed to having to amend the extra work agreement sheet every time somebody wants to change or go through that process.
So will this rate ever be higher than what we're paying now?
It could be.
Yes.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Agenda item 15.
That was a tie.
Oh, I don't get to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You break the
Oh.
tie.
It fails because it's the majority of the actual board that would have to.
Okay,
Okay,
so it fails.
so it failed. Okay, so motion failed. Okay.
You can make an amendment, you can move to make an amended motion.
I'd like to make a motion, please, that we just remove the 3 meal tax district section. And I think the only problem, like for me, I'd like to see the difference in the pay. You know, if it gets to be too large,
You would have to approve the difference whenever.
I understand, but you gotta bring it to us first.
Yes. So this is just like an open, because we don't know what it's going to be yet. It will still come before you to vote on that actual rate before we would pay someone at that rate. That would come with the 3 mil proposal. When they propose that and they send it to John, that's an item that we bring to you at that time because it may be different, like in Fairhope, than it is in Robertsdale.
How does it help us to have this information?
It was just a way to, a lot of times this request comes to me. And so it was a way to kind of add some additional flexibility without having to amend this whole agreement every single time with different rates for different areas, so those type of things. And so that was the kind of the mindset, is that the committee would approve it, usually around July. We bring it to the board for final approval. If it goes through that process, then it would be amended by whatever rate they said. If not, then we can stick to the existing rates we currently have right now. It was some input based on some of the meetings that I've been in with the committee members. For whatever reason, there's not a determined rate above what's currently right there. It was just always asked to us, can I do this? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do that? And it doesn't always fall within the parameters of the system-wide extra work agreement sheet.
But that would apply for all districts that pass the 3 meetings.
It would, because it's based on the approval of the 3 mil committee.
Yeah.
But it's still, if we take it off, we can still submit it to them at whatever approved rate the 3 mil is requesting.
No,
So it
There
has,
has
we
to
have
be
to
in a
have
it
it
separate
has
on
to be in
here.
this
has to be
board-approved rate. Yes, ma'am.
We have to have something here so that we can process the extra work agreement.
Or they can't
And so
process
we
it.
have to have it here so that we have a mechanism to process it when it's submitted. But in July, when they bring it back to you, you would have the opportunity to not approve the rate. Because again, one rate in Fairhope may be acceptable and the rate in Robertsdale may not be acceptable. But this still allows us to process the ones that are acceptable.
is it possible, and it may not be off the cuff, but is it possible to give us an example of where you perhaps have run into it in
Yes,
the
ma'am.
past that might help it be a little more clear?
Yes, ma'am. So I was in a meeting, I think in January, and I think it was regarding the tutor rate, and at the time it was $20 an hour. We of course amended that up to 30, and the teachers in the room all said they're not going to do this for $20 an hour. The chairman said, well, can't we pay more? And I said, you can, but we've got to make sure the rates are approved by the board. What rate do you want to do? We don't know. We're going to get input. And so, and I told him, I'm like, that's probably a 2-month process. To go through, amend, get board approval, and then enact an extra work agreement in this sheet.
Did
So-
any of their requests for, and again, it may not apply, but did their request of more per hour, is that more of a feasible thing to do now based on the more that retired teachers or certified teachers can earn after they leave than they could? I didn't phrase that right. Like, was $20 based on the fact that a retired teacher who probably did the tutoring and did all that kind of stuff could only earn X amount of money once they were retired?
So we actually amended it, and $25 was the retired teacher. The difference between a regular teacher and a retired teacher is the amount of hours that they can work.
They can work.
And so for
Can
someone
earn.
that maybe is coming out of college on a part-time, it's up to 19 hours. For retired teachers, it's up to 30 hours a week. And a lot of that is having to do with the fact that they currently have health care through RSA and those type things, so we're not having to fall with under the Affordable Care Act provisions and those type things as far as health care, that we
Yeah.
provide. So there's more flexibility with a retired teacher. We bumped it up to 25. We're still having some trouble finding.
Finding them.
So the motion on the table is to amend to approve the extra work agreement with the striking of the 3 mil tax district. So if we passed that,
Can I withdraw that amendment?
on May 5th, you could submit an amended
I guess
with this, with the 3 mil,
my,
with all the other rates being approved, and then just have, if we amend to approve all the other rates except for 3 mil, and then on May 5th, you all submit an amendment to the extra work agreement that maybe has a range of pay for
Well,
the board to approve.
we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't have Spanish Fort, this is your rate, Robertsdale, this is your rate. We would have this same item, and we would process it based on the rate that you approve in July. So
But
if
you
we
would bring
take
us
this.
that rate.
Yes,
Yes.
if we take this, that's why we put 3 mil board approved rate. That's you. You're gonna approve it, but we can take it off, that's not a problem, but when we add it back, it will look like this, but it would be after you approve the actual rate. So we can do it either way you're comfortable with. We can completely strike it, take it off, or we leave it and there's no rate attached to it right now, because you haven't approved anything.
Or the board can say, you got to stick to the same rate that we did
Yes.
countywide. I mean,
Right.
again,
See, that's the only problem I have. I mean, when you start bumping it on up, and I know
Sure.
they have flexibility because they got the tax,
right.
but it still isn't fair to the ones that don't have that tax. Trying to get tutors there. I don't think it's fair.
It was just trying to simplify the process based on some input and
Yeah,
things
I
that were brought
understand.
to us. But again, it's y'all's decision at the end of the day, so
Well, I mean,
just like that.
So we have a motion on the table, do we have a second?
motion to take that item off.
To approve the extra work agreement sheet.
I'll second.
So what is the motion now
Pass everything but the 3 mil, bring it back later. On May the 5th.
on May 5th?
So they can go ahead and process this up.
So,
In July, okay.
But that would work for
Is that in
the
time?
process. Is that good for what you're trying to do?
process?
Are all those committee meetings each month? I mean, I know Farrell's first Wednesday each month.
They typically are, yes, sir.
I just like to see what the difference in the rate is.
We don't have them
Yeah.
yet.
I know, because they're still meeting.
And we could even, if, if you want to strike that, if you wanted to put like a range, like if you wanted to say it can't be more than this, that's something that we
What
could.
is it now?
It was what it was last year. It was the same for everyone.
Which was
Isn't that
20?
Last year.
20 for regular, 25 for
And
retired
25
per
for-
hour. Yes, ma'am.
25.
But we're raising it, or if you approve it, to 30 this year. So that might be acceptable, and they may not want to do a different rate.
For everybody, retired and existing, $30 an
For, I
hour.
was gonna say,
Yes, ma'am.
that 30 would be for everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Which I don't have a problem with.
Okay, according to Robert's Rules of Order, am I allowed to withdraw my amendment?
With the way it is right now.
So we have a motion and a second. So
We have-
we would have to vote on
we'd have to
this,
vote.
And then
So we need to vote
we need to vote for this.
On the amended.
on them to remove the 3
amended.
mil. Okay, the amended item. Okay, on number 14. Okay.
Vote no.
I apologize for not asking this.
All right, so we need to have all in favor of amending item number 14, removing the 3 mil information, say aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
Now,
We gotta kill that before we can bring it back, right? I mean, that right?
Yeah.
We just playing with this.
Yeah, you had to at least vote it if you want to bring it back for the other one.
Why is this?
I think it was recall the motion, the original motion.
Has to be from somebody that voted no, right? I wanted to do it.
Yes, I'd like to
Recall the original motion.
call you.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second that original motion.
All in favor say,
So we have a motion by Mr. Johnson.
Motion, Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Christenberry. Any discussion? I know. I'm quiet.
I just have one question. I'm just kidding. I don't. I'm covered.
All right, if there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
Okay, now the motion carries.
Agenda item 15, approval of memorandum of understanding with Orange Beach City Board of Education. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the superintendent to move forward with execution of the MOU with Orange Beach City Board of Education in substantially the same form as stipulated herein.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Johnson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Christenberry. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Ms. Lindsay.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a
Second.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Johnson, second by Ms. Dawson.
All in favor?
All in favor say,
Aye.
all opposed?
So we do not meet on the 27th next Wednesday. That's off the table.
Yeah, that's